I don't know about you, but depending on what you buy, the technology in today's vehicles can do everything from monitoring systems functions to diagnosing problems to supporting communications. The point is, these abilities rest entirely on an intricate maze of wiring. So I think you'll agree that it's important for the vehicle manufacturer who cuts those wires in order to lower the floor of your vehicle, restores them to their original function. And believe me, it isn't as simple as splicing a lamp cord. Let me show you what I mean. This is the power door wiring bundle for this vehicle. As you can imagine, when a vehicle floor is lowered, the existing wiring has to be extended to cover that increased distance. So you have to cut the OEM wire and put in the additional section and reattach both ends. In this case, the manufacturer used two heat shrink tubes to splice the additional wire into place, one splice at each end. Now, how they do that is really important, because 2 splices per wire means twice as many opportunities for loose connections, intermittent connections, broken connections. And with soldered wire, you end up with brittle connections that are vulnerable to vibration. Oh, and in a moving car, when isn't there vibration? Now here you have the wire that handles communication across your vehicle's CAN bus system, which stands for Controller Area Network, and describes a complex of wiring used to connect intelligent devices, like the electronic control units used to manage your engine's RPMs, and even simple door open lights. The bottom line is, if you're not communicating properly, the CAN bus system can shut you down if it detects a serious problem. Now, if you really are in danger of some sort, that's a good thing. But if the problem is a cheap connection or a bad solder point, how are you going to feel when you're sitting by the side of the road in a dead vehicle? Unfortunately, this manufacturer appears to have compounded the problem, at least from an engineering standpoint, by totally disregarding the fact that this system is color-coded to help support identification. And what if you find yourself in a situation where several wires have pulled loose? Guess who's paying the technician to find which wire goes where? How would you know without tearing up flooring and carpeting to find the matching end somewhere else in the vehicle? And that's before they even begin to fix the problem. Now, in some cases, the manufacturer actually tried to avoid cutting and splicing. That would be good, if they hadn't simply pulled the wire as tight as they could go in order to reroute them. That puts a lot of tension on wires, and as you can imagine, that carries its own problems. What does all this tell you about the manufacturer's attention to detail, or when it comes right down to it, their regard for your well-being? I mean, even when it comes to simple convenience. Consider the fact that in order to operate all the systems in this vehicle, you're going to need the OEM key fob to handle the vehicle locks, another fob to operate the ramp, and then you have to locate the position of all your particular vehicle's manual switches to handle the myriad of other functions. Now, does that sound reasonable to you? So what you end up with here is low reliability, the potential for unnecessarily high service costs, and a very cumbersome system of buttons and switches that are all justified by the fact that this system costs less up front. No kidding. I agree, there is a cost associated with upgrading your vehicle wiring system to the level of quality and dependability that the OEM originally built in. But isn't that what you'd expect? BraunAbility avoids all of the problems we've just seen by investing up front, not only in OEM parts, connectors, terminals, but also in the die tooling and automated processing systems that are needed to build a harness that will work in all of their conversions. The result is an engineered extension that will have the correct connectors hardwired at both ends, and the same color-coded wiring to match the OEM's original wiring. During conversion, all the wire assembly team has to do is plug the harness in at one end, place it into the predetermined position instead of stretching it as far as it'll go, and plug it in at the other end. That's it. If you do have a wiring issue, You can simply go to your local OEM service center where they can use their standard diagnostic tools to diagnose the problem. No one else can do that. And even though it might seem like a minor point to some, for people with limited manual dexterity, the fact that BraunAbility's single key fob operates both the original functions and those required by the conversion is an added bonus. Unfortunately, it seems that everything is measured in terms of cost. And you have to ask yourself whether shortcuts at the front end and all of the uncertainties that they create are worth the worry and the consequences. The choice is yours.